please.
And that's enough on it. Kind of an evangelist on YouTube at this point. If you've ever been to a session in the past, I'm also kind of a Moodle evangelist as far as that goes. But today we're really here to talk about YouTube and recording and posting stuff in your classroom and what that looks like. So objectives today are to talk about why we should be recording classes, to talk about how to do it, and what to do with it when you're done. So first of all, why to record classes? The first reason is obvious. I have a handicapped child that misses a lot of school because of surgeries. He's had 2 major surgeries while he's been in school, and he misses class. And the idea of saying, hey, we went over chapters 3 through 5 while you were gone, catch up. If students could learn by just reading the book, then what are we employed for, right? The best thing to teach is us. And by recording your classes, you make it available to students that aren't there. And I said physically and virtually. If you're a high school teacher, you know what I'm talking about. Many students may phase out during class. I will say that 30-ish years ago in high school, if they had been as prevalent talking about ADD, I'm sure I would have been the first one they would have said had ADD in the classroom. It's not shit, I'm too great, but it's okay. Oh, by the way, that's delayed because obviously it's funny. And I may be on the wrong. No, I think I'm on the right one. Yeah, I'm on the right one. It's delayed. Yeah, okay. Can you guys hear me? Do I need to put on the mic? You guys are okay? I wear hearing aids, so I consider kind of rude in a big room not to use them. But if everybody in the back row is okay, then I'll continue on. Okay. But I was talking about being gone virtually. Students phase out during the class. They may not pay attention the whole time. Some of them work nights at our school. We have kids in classrooms that are working 2nd and 3rd shift jobs that are part of the CBI program, and they come into school and they're white. And not all of them are bad kids. They want to know what happened. And really, this has become something that's been pushed in our school more starting this year because we have a new superintendent who has a child that has seizures, and she's missed a lot of school at where she's at, different school district. And he fought a lot of battles there trying to get them to record the classes so that she would be able to make up that work. So, obviously being absent from class, when I teach, I try to teach to the absent child when I'm using visual aids, when I'm doing stuff. I'm trying to do it like everybody's not here so that if somebody watches the video later that makes sense. It's a great fit for students needing remediation. If a student's having a problem getting the geometry lesson understood, and I teach 4 sections of geometry, and I use different problem sets for the other 2 classes that student wasn't in, now they can watch 2 more sets of problems, and maybe it clicks then because they can watch the same one over and over again, and maybe they'll get it, but if they have new problem sets to look at, maybe that'll be the thing that helps them. Obviously, YouTube, anytime, any place, from home, is something that students can get to. Sorry, I just said that. At their own pace, anytime. And that's one of the things that we talk about with blended learning. This is something that can't be undersold. There are parents out there that really would like to help, but they have no idea what you're doing in your classroom. And if you post the lesson online, they automatically know what you're doing in your classroom. And many parents are college educated. Don't need to be, right, to understand some of the subjects that you're talking about in class. And if they go through it with their child, they go, oh, what they meant was this, kind of thing, and rephrase it in maybe the vocabulary that the child understands in their own mouth. I just said that using different examples to post when your push recordings can give different things. And this is the biggest one. We did a whole blended learning push starting when we got the Ohio Blended Learning Grant years ago, probably about 8 years ago now that we did that. So, and the biggest complaint of teachers was, I can't find any videos for my content. It doesn't exist. Well, if you start recording, and I've recorded every class I teach for the last 5 years, I have no excuse if I say there's no good content out there for me to give my kids. Because I'm saying I'm no good, right? So if you record all your classes, even if you don't post them all, you just put them on YouTube and make them unlisted so you can use them later if you want to. You have a whole repository of stuff. When I'm gone, like today, I can go, oh, what did we do during this time last year? Boom, I pull up the video, I make it a blended learning lesson, maybe chop it up in several different pieces with Edpuzzle. But now I've got a whole repository of those that I can use for future instruction. And I can't stress number 4 enough. If I know I'm live and that anybody can watch me anytime. And by the way, my hardware class is live. I don't just record and upload it. It's live every day. My son, who last year was a senior at another school district, had study hall during my class, and he sat in on my class every day during study hall with his phone. Because he said, "Oh, bored, I had nothing to do, so I watched your class today." That was kind of cool. Okay? You don't have to do that. That's an upper level of what I'm talking about today. Yeah?
Do you worry about ads at all popping up?
I don't worry about ads at all.
Would parents be worried about that?
Depends on how, possibly, but it depends on how you post your stuff too. Okay, so if you post it, and we'll get to that, but depending on how you post it, you can make it so there's never any ads that show up. If you use something like Edpuzzle to post your videos, there are no ads. You can trim it to whatever you want them to see.
But if you're posting it to YouTube, I'm saying.
No, I have it turned off. You can turn off whether you want ads to show in your videos. You don't have to allow ads. No ads ever. You will never see an ad in my video. It's part of your YouTube setup. You can say, no, you're not allowed to put ads in there, and there are no ads in it. Can they be on the side? Of course they can be on the side. But they can't ever put ads at the front of your video or inside your video unless you say it's okay and you monetize it. As long as you don't do those things, you don't have to worry about it. Yeah?
I'm just thinking you could just record a simple screencast on how to use ad block or turn off the lights extension or something like that. So
right, there's lots of ways to keep the ads out of the sides of it. And like we use a learning management system called Moodle, and if you embed it in Moodle, you don't see anything other than the video. They never see an ad. Unless they go watch on YouTube, and then they might get ads on the side, but they're never before or after. So we're going to talk about kind of the basic steps. Step 1 is to record. Step 2 is to upload, unless you're live like we are right now. And the step 3 is to post, and I'm going to kind of expand on all these. And by the way, this bit.ly is to this presentation. You may feel free to take it, copy it, edit it, use it at your own school, however you want to. I don't ask for any say I got it from anywhere. It's all yours, okay? And I know I talk fast, which is one of the reasons I started recording, because students would go, "Mr. Poole, you said that really fast." I'm like, "Yeah, but you can put me at 75% watching me all day long." So anyway, so those are the basic steps we're going to talk about. What you do need to have in order to really do this right, you have to have a projector, you need to have an interactive whiteboard, you need to have a microphone, and obviously you need to have a YouTube account. These are the microphones that we use. They're called Digital Blue. They're the same manufacturer as that Yeti. I bought a nicer Yeti because we're in a big room and I didn't know what the sound would be like in here. Most of our teachers have that one mounted right up, popping out of the board, or right above their board through the ceiling. It's run through the same USB, and we have a hub up there that connects their Menu board or their smart board, depending on what they have. We tried a lot of other things. Having a digital mic mounted, I will tell you, is the best way to do it. You don't want to use a headset. You don't want to be dragging around cords. You just want to be able to hit record and know that it's working. Some teachers have these hung in their ceiling, and some of them have them on their desk, like Mr. Studebaker has. They get kind of more of a surround sound. This one, and they're both around $49 on Amazon. This one is more directional. If a teacher only wants to get themselves and doesn't want the peanut gallery, that's a good one. If the teacher wants the room being popped, there's mics in the front and the back of this. That one's, we have mounted, popped out of the ceiling. And actually, this unscrews, and you can have a little tiny hole, pop it through, and screw it back on, and hang there real nicely, and you can get the whole room if the teacher wants to. So those things you have to have. Most schools have interactive whiteboards. Most of them do. I know there's still some that don't, but most of them do. This is cheap. That hopefully you already have in your classroom as far as physical stuff. So step 1 is you have to use your whiteboard every day. And I still fight that occasionally with staff members like, "Oh, it's just easier not to." That's crap. It's not easier not to. Once you start using a digital whiteboard, you'll never stop using it if you use it every day in class. My next door neighbor, who's a rehire, he's got 40 plus years. And I went to Lon and I said, "Lon, I really want to hang a smartboard here." He goes, "No, I don't want a smartboard." I said, "I'll make you a deal. Let me hang it up for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you want me to take it down, I will never, ever bother you again with technology in your room." At the end of 2 weeks, and by the way, you couldn't use anything else because that was his only board. I covered up every space he had to write. At the end of 2 weeks, Lon said, "If you ever take this board down, I quit." And he's an experienced teacher. There we go. That's what I want. He's an experienced teacher who's like, I never wanted to use that stuff. And once I start using that stuff, I realize how much time I save. And I can bring up old lessons, and I can go back and refer to things we talked about in the past that you can't do once you go on like this on your chalkboard or your dry erase board. So you have to start using it every lesson, every day, in order to record well. Yes, I can put a camera like that one up in my room. I tried that. The stuff looks like crap. This you can see. Can you read that? Can't read that. And you wouldn't be able to read it well. So I do it like this. The camera's not working really well, but I have a couple cameras in my room, so I'm in the video in the corner, and I can go back and forth between, if there's nothing on the board and I just want to talk to my kids, I can talk to my kids, and it'll go there in a minute, and I'll be full screen, and that'll just be me. And it's just hotkeys that you can set up on your computer, and then when I've got stuff on the board, I can hit another key, and I can go back to it being primarily the board. So, our stage one of recording really is to use the stuff you've already got. Every single digital whiteboard piece of software comes with a recorder. Minio does, Smartboard does, Promethean does. They all have something that's already on your computer. The easiest way is just to use what you've got. Now, it's just going to record the board. There's no video, but I will tell you, most teachers don't want to be in the video. They just want this. They don't want this. Except for my Spanish teacher. He wants this. He doesn't care about that. He just wants a camera. I use that word if I want to, but I'm walking around talking. He's got his mic in the middle. He's got cameras edge of the room. Because his teaching is not about what's on the board. It's about what am I doing in my classroom. So that's an independent thing. So I would say this is the easiest way to go. Because YouTube takes every kind of video format, when you upload, I haven't found one that doesn't work, then that works the easiest. You can see me going back and forth there between me and the thing, since we're delayed that much. In our case, with that smart recorder, it's as simple as you can go. They can hit record when they want to do an exercise, and hit pause, and when they start teaching again, they hit record again, and when they're done, they hit stop, and that's it. Makes a video and they're done. It takes 2 minutes at the end of the day to drag that video to YouTube and put it wherever they have their class stuff online. And when I say 2 minutes, that's a lie. It takes less than 2 minutes, and I in fact used to do it between classes. Between classes, drag it over. You get the link to where the YouTube is while it's still uploading. You take the link, put it in your class. You're done. You walk on. You have 3 kids at the door. So that's the easiest way, and that's what I would call stage one. If you don't have a digital whiteboard program, if you're just projecting from your device, which I know some schools do now, some use Chromecast, the cast what they're doing on the Chrome desktop or Chrome device, you can use Screencastify. The limit of Screencastify is this 10 minutes and 50 recordings per month, but it's only $24 a year if you're the lone wolf using it in your school. If you've got multiple people using it to go, I think you said it goes down like $12 a person if you buy it for your school. Because I'm recording the entire class, that 10 minutes would be an issue for me. I would have to stop and then restart recording. I mean, I have breaks in my classroom. In fact, when I have a break in my classroom, what I'll do is I'll hit my I'm back over there. We'll see if I'm back on the right video here in a second. So that's Screencastify. The stage 2 that Dan's at and I'm at and some other teachers are using OBS Studio, which is what I'm using right now. OBS Studio lets you make scenes and transitions and use multiple inputs. I've got a overhead camera. I've got one over there. I've got one over there, kind of like this one. I can go back between different sources. I can input videos if I want to. So if I've got something in a class and I'm like, that's mind-blowing, I can have my little mind-blown video. What did I just do on that? For some reason it's doing stuff I don't want it to do while I'm on this. What just happened? I think this is related to our fantastic Wi-Fi, what's going on right now. Let's see if I can get back to where we were real fast. I don't know. What?
I think you're wrong. What? I think it kicked you out and you came back in.
I apologize about that. Let's see if we can go real fast and get back to where I was. Yeah, you might see a video pop up over there that you can inject different videos in with OBS Studio. OBS Studio, by the way, is completely free. It's a free download. They have Mac and PC versions. It's relatively easy to set up, and Linux versions. Basically, it lets me set different scenes, and I can hit function keys, and I can have different inputs and stuff when I'm setting that up. And you can set up your YouTube stream key in there. It's pretty logical. It goes here. There's my mind-blowing video there. So you can have it go to different videos and stuff when you're doing your lessons, so they show up on the YouTube stream. Let me go there. Second stage is pretty easy. I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through YouTube and how to do it, but if you've never done it before, there's an upload button there. We just click and upload the video that we just saved, depending on how we did it. And I would say a lot of people don't want to be live because they don't want to have something happen like what just happened. They'd rather just record it. OBS Studio records just fine. You can upload later just like anything else. When you do set it up, if you haven't set it up before, you have to verify your account to get unlimited recording length. YouTube limits you to 15 minutes until you verify your account. And I highly recommend setting up your defaults, and I tell teachers to set them up as unlisted so that if you accidentally upload something, no one will ever find it until you say it's public and want it to go somewhere. And unlisted, the great thing about unlisted is you can put it on your LMS, you can put it in Google Classroom, you can put it wherever you want your students to find it. They will find it, but no one else will ever find your stuff. So if you're concerned about what happens if I said Dan's name during the class and I should call out a student or something, no one else is ever going to find that if they don't come to it through your classroom. So I really recommend unlisted for classroom recordings. I have always recommended to have a separate channel per subject. Did anybody get the YouTube video email on Friday? They're the devil. Makes me so angry. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes on how they're trying to limit, and maybe it won't happen. I'm hopeful. But I've always said the best thing you can do for your kids is have a different channel. I have a channel for hardware, I have a channel for advanced tech, I have a channel for PD. So when people are looking for something, it's just on that channel. They don't have to wander around one site and try to find stuff. When I was talking about changing your limit, the first time you go to upload something, it's going to say, want to upload your videos longer than 50 minutes. You just hit that, increase your limit. It's going to ask you to put in a phone number. It's going to text you a code. You put in the code. You can't really see the box there, those box right there. Hit submit, and then you're unlimited in length of your music videos. So you really need to make sure you do that. Setting up your defaults. If you do it one time, you never have to come back again. This is where you can say you don't want to embed any ads. You want to have it in the front. You want it in the back. You want it in the side. If you allow comments, which you can allow or not allow comments in your videos, I have it block potentially inappropriate comments, but you can say, I have to approve every comment if you want to on your YouTube. You can let users see ratings, not see ratings. There's a bunch of settings that you can can look at and set up your defaults as far as that goes too. I think I want to be on 3. And then when you upload, you can always change those things. Once I have to go to upload, that's when I'll set the title of the video. And if I want it to not be unlisted, I can go and change it right there during the upload time itself. All that stuff is under the settings under your YouTube channel if you want to, and that's also where you go to create new channels. And if you've got an email, YouTube is trying to say educational channels or educational users can't have channels anymore. Back when we started 8 years ago, you could have your one channel and that was it. And I think 6 years ago, they switched to you could make separate channels, and I have a whole bunch of channels. And they just recently said you can't do channels anymore. That's what you it must be F4. I wanted to be on the other one. Well, I'll see in a second. Huh? Yeah, I think it's F4. I usually have, just so you know, I know it looks silly that I don't know what my own function keys are, but in my classroom I have a piece of paper up here that says F1 equals this, F2 equals this. So when I go to hit a key, I go, what was that again? How do I get to that overhead camera kind of thing? And I didn't write them down, so I don't remember which one's which. I thought F3 and F4 goes back and forth between I'm big and everything's small and vice versa. But anyway, so that's what channels are for. This is the email that if you have channels already, you just got. You can still save your channels. If you have channels, you just have to transfer them to a non-educational account as the primary owner, which I've already done with all mine. I just don't like that answer because I should be able to have my educational stuff separate than my personal stuff. But I'd rather have a channel that's owned by my personal one than not have a channel. It's my personal preference. So hopefully it will come back.
So if you you've just been uploading videos to YouTube and you didn't turn on a channel, they're fine.
If you've just been uploading under your name, which is what I didn't. I don't want my students to go to Brian Poole's account. I wanted to go to NTLS Hardware, NTLS Advanced Tech. So if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't have seen, if you went to YouTube, you wouldn't see all these, you can see all the channels that I've got. It would just be the one that says your name. If your videos are there, then you wouldn't have gotten this email. You don't have any branded accounts. So that won't be a problem for you. I think having separate channels is important to keep that stuff separate for your students and easily findable. So what do I do with the videos when I'm done? Number one, I have Post Your LMS. We're a Moodle district. Every single class is on my calendar. So if a student missed Thursday, they go to Thursday on the calendar and there's the video embedded on it and they click on it and they can watch it. Okay? When students come to my classroom and go, what did we do last week, Mr. Poole? I go, I don't know. What's YouTube say? Kind of thing. I can't go over an 80-minute class in the 5 minutes your students give you when they do a drive-by going, what we're doing, right? You can't. But if you've got your class up there, they certainly have the opportunity. And if I wanted to, I could use Edpuzzle. Here's used Edpuzzle before. Edpuzzle is fantastic. You can use it for any video on YouTube, whether you own it or not, to trim out whatever part you want, to embed quizzes inside Edpuzzle to make it so they can't fast forward it if you want to. So if I want a student to watch it because I missed, I just hit, there's a little button that says edit with Edpuzzle when I'm in Chrome, and it just goes boom, and I can just say assign to that student, and I'm done. Now they have to watch it to get the grade for it if I want to. It's a great thing for blended learning because otherwise, how do we know if they watched the video? There's no way for us to know if they actually went to YouTube and watched the video. But if we Edpuzzle it, we know who watched it, they answer the questions, they do the questions right. I do it for PD as well. There's an assigned PD at Trail. We just did phishing tests to see how our staff would do. And 22% of our staff followed the link and clicked on it, and they were assigned remedial phishing. So anyway, so that's one thing you can do. You can embed it in your Google Calendar, on a Google Site, in Google Classroom, in Google Group. There are tons of places you could put those YouTube videos to make them easily accessible for your students, and I think that's the most important thing. I used to use playlists, chapter 1, chapter 2, Playlists are, I've got to go find them, and where is it? By putting it in the calendar, there's no question, what did we do on Thursday? It's under Thursday on the calendar. So I find that way easier than using the playlist. Now, if you've never used playlists before, you can set up a chapter 1 playlist and say anything that says the word chapter 1 goes in that playlist automatically. You don't even have to add your things to it. So I do that. They're already in the playlist, but I've been recording it for 5 years. You know how long the chapter 1 playlist is? To find out what we talked about on Thursday, they've got to go through this huge playlist. And do I go back and delete all the old ones? No, because I might use them next year, right? So there's tons of things, and I also do this, email to parents. If I've got a student that missed class and is missing class a lot, we have all the parent emails. I'll email the link directly to the parent. This is the class that you're sending this on Thursday. Please make sure he watches this, right? You can do it to parent groups too, right? We've got groups for all of our students at National Trail. We can send out an email to say these students, you know, this is what we did. If you wanted to, every class, I would just harass the parents, right? But when they miss it, that's one way to do it as well. We have some concerns. How am I doing time? There we go. Oh, I'm great on time. Concerns that our own teachers say, do I have to post every class? What if something happens in class? Okay, well, that's why I said unlisted is the default. If you post it unlisted and you take the time, because with the Google editor, the YouTube editor, I can easily go and say, trim, I split it and cut out that thing, and maybe it looks like I jumped from here to there, and then the person watching doesn't know what happened, but I cut out the time that somebody went and said, what did Mr. Studebaker teach us in that class? He's stupid. Just pick on Mr. Studebaker. Because if anybody's taught, at some point in class, you've had a student say something bad about another staff member. I don't want that on YouTube, right? So, or if somebody asks a question that is inappropriate or whatever, that's why I have them that way. Everybody has a bad class that doesn't go well. You don't post those. Okay, it happens, right? So you don't have to post everything. The idea is getting in the habit of trying to do it every lesson, every day, which is really hard in the beginning. It was hard for me. I had pieces of paper all the way around my whiteboard that said, start recording, dummy. Did the dummy at the front of the room hit record? Remind Mr. Poole to record. Literally all the way around the room. And if I don't record, you're in trouble because these signs were to you two students to remind me. So in the beginning it was hard because the students are here, let's go. Unless it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to wait for all the announcements to take 10 minutes, right? So it is hard to get started. If you do them unlisted, they're not going to be searchable. And this is a big thing. Number 4, that I would say needs to be talked about. And our superintendent from day 1 this year, when he said, I want teachers to be recording and posting their lessons, they will not now nor ever be used against you for anything. And by the way, who has time to watch other people's videos anyway? Right? But that was a big thing that they needed to make everybody feel good. Because, there are staff members that feel like they're being picked on by certain administrators. He doesn't like me. He's just looking for a reason to fire me. I heard that before. And it was important that this be something which, maybe you have to put in your contract. I don't know. It's whatever. But I don't think that should be an issue. It's really about the kids, about making your teaching and their learning accessible all the time, everywhere. I will tell you that how much do my videos get watched? The average watch time is 5 minutes. Okay? Because in general, the kids want to watch the one thing they missed, the one thing they didn't understand. They're not going to watch 45 minutes. They're going to go to right there. Oh, okay, I got it. Because they did like me, they phased out in class, they didn't get everything. So don't be upset if you don't see the average watch time being 30 minutes or something in your videos. Does anybody have any questions? I know I talked fast.
You said the ability to see average 5 minutes. Can you show us what that looks like on YouTube?
Yeah.
Maybe. And you can't see exactly which student.
You can't see which student or who. No. If you Edpuzzle it, you certainly can. You can see exactly, and it gives them a grade whether they watch the whole thing, and they get no grade if they didn't get to the end, whether or not you have questions or not in there. So I'm switching to my hardware class, and then I'm going to Creator Studio. And then over here I can go to Analytics. So you can see, I don't know, is this on every video? On watch time, total watch time, average watch time duration, 1 minute and 17 seconds. I don't know. That's just obviously this last month. So, but you can go to you can go directly to a video and check out that one as well. So if I just want to know, if I assign somebody to go watch a video, how do I do that? Oh, there we go. So did everybody go and watch the video that I posted on how to install the TV card drivers? I can go and see how many times that was watched and who it was watched by. I don't know. Apparently it knows male and female there. I don't know. But I can look at individual videos if I want to. I'll be honest, I don't go and look at that very often. If it's important, I use Edpuzzle to make sure they watched it if I made it a blend or anything. Yeah.
How do you deal with student privacy? So let's say you have a student come up and work on your board. You just edit that out, or do you have a way of doing it?
Absolutely not. I want parents to be able to see. So what do? Everybody has to make up their own name. Hi, I'm Harry Potter. Today I'm presenting a hardware class. Okay, so they don't use their own names, but yes, they're in the video. And I asked parents' permission for that. So I'm going to bring one up for my hardware class. And if it's somebody who doesn't want to or isn't allowed to be in the video, I have a button to turn off that camera, so they're not shown in the camera. But for instance, let's see that's the fight. Okay, here's day 2 of our build or buy presentations. They just did a project, and when they go up here in class,
Do it again. Just to make sure.
I'm going full screen. So here's Harry Potter. I use that because his name's Harry and he uses Harry Potter. So he comes up and he has to come up. Oh, just got in the way there. He has to come up with a fictitious name so that when they give presentations, they're not out there saying, "Hi, I'm Brian Poole on YouTube." They all have a different name. Yes, their picture is there, but they're not identifying themselves as who they are.
I'm calling a student in class.
Oh, and I'm calling and asking a question to come up in front of the class, right? So that is going to be up to you and whether you have permission to do that, right? So number one, I never use full names anyway. I'm only going to say the first name of the student as that goes. And like I said, I've got hotkeys. I can either hit the mute button, which puts my dummy slide up and turns off the audio, or I can hit the button that just takes away this, and they can't see who it is, but the student can go up there and talk. Which is one of the reasons some teachers wanted the surround mic and some of them just wanted the just up here mic. So that I can call on students, and I can call you in the back of the room and you can answer my question, but it doesn't show up on the audio. Nobody knows what the answer you said was, unless I say, "Oh, and Jim said this." Does everybody agree with that? And then obviously it's going to be on the other. Yeah.
What cameras do you use?
I will tell you that the camera I have in my classroom doing that is a really old Logitech camera that I drilled a hole in and put on a stick. I don't have high-tech stuff. This one's a $39 camera, which is actually way higher. It's a 1080p, but in this lighting from the angle, it's obviously not doing very much. So I will tell you that this camera angle here is not about trying to show who you are as a close-up. It was feedback from both my staff members and my students when it came to PD stuff for staff. They didn't like just having a screen capture for a PD video. They felt like they wanted to feel someone talking to them. So I am just like this. I'm in the corner down here, cut into my videos just like the one you just saw with him. In fact, I'll mute the audio here for a second. He's it's not like he's super clear, because this part of the video is not about identifying the student. It's really just about somebody's talking to you over there. And you're not going to be able to recognize, if you don't know who that student is in this low quality camera, you're not going to really be able to identify who he is unless you already knew who he was, right? Yeah, and I can make that full screen, but that's a low quality camera, like not much better than that one. And when we go full screen, it's very digitized, which is why you want to do the screen capture to get it. Yeah.
We talked about Screencastify. How do you do Screencastify again?
Screencastify is a Chrome add-on, so you have to be in Google Chrome. You'll add on Screencastify, and it's just a drop-down that you see record. You can allow access to your mic, and to your camera, and to the screen. It's individual on things. And when it saves directly into your Google Drive when it's done. Is there anything else I can add on to Screencastify? My students use it to do screen captures with programming projects. So I have a Minecraft programming section of my course, and when they program their turtle to do something, they then have to submit a recording of showing that your turtle did it, right?
Or some Chromebooks, super easy.
Chromebooks,
You're primarily, when you're doing your class, you're primarily streaming your smart board, right?
Yes, yeah, and my teachers are mainly using Smart Recorder. Only I think 3 of us are actually using OBS Studio. It's just that you don't have something else, or if you want to do more, OBS Studio definitely does more than the other things. Yeah.
We do our morning announcements live, and we just use YouTube Live.
Okay.
Do you know if on this OBS Studio, if there's any way to do like a green screen?
It's awesome. We used to use that for my stuff. You can, OBS Studio, that's one of the things. I used to do morning announcements and a web show and a news show and a web class I had. OBS Studio, you can set up a camera, set the input, have it, my whole wall is painted blue on one side of my room. You can set the chroma key, you can put background video. We had a picture of an office, actually a newsroom, that when they were doing the news to make it look like they were sitting in a professional newsroom. Yes, it does some cool stuff. Yes. Anybody else have any questions?
In your documentation, you said that the teachers didn't want the recording as part of their evaluation. Is that like that in your school? They absolutely say.
They absolutely said it cannot be part of your evaluation. And I want it to be, because I'm the opposite. I'm like, the principal's like, oh, I can't come then, I can come then. I'm like, just watch the video.
Yeah.
The whole class is, the difference between here and when you're sitting there is 0. So, but he won't. He's like, I can't use it as an evaluation tool. I'm like,
So to me, that's silly because you're loading that on YouTube. A teacher could make a review or a best of teaching moments, make a Google presentation, insert those, and say this is how we focused on this.
Yeah.
And that would be good evidence for them to present to their administrator. So
yeah, right now, no, because they made a big point of saying this will not be used for evaluations, and maybe we need to say, can we use it? But then, because they said we won't, I couldn't, even though I wanted to.
Is your control one?
Yeah.
So you're using OBS to get pictures that show you.
Yes.
Is there a camera on the, or is that just a smart board?
This is a screen capture of what's being projected. So there's tons of different inputs you can do on OBS Studios. You can do videos, images, screens. I have different hotkeys for my projected screen versus my desk, because I have 3 screens. My desktop screen, he has 4, by the way. So I'm just saying, I don't know, let's just go to the decorator. But yeah, you can have all kinds of inputs. You can overlay them any way you want to. So like now we're looking at, this is the biggest and this is the smallest. I'm going to hit the hotkey or go opposite.
Could you do like that and then like a document camera and input?
Definitely. My math teacher actually uses a document camera. Instead, he doesn't want to do it this way. He has a document camera, the geometry teacher, and he sits down with his mic and works his way through the problem with the document camera, so that it kind of looks more like a Khan Academy one, other than the fact that you see Jack's hand. But I mean, that's exactly how it is. And we have other teachers, English teachers, who use the document camera. We've got ITIP cameras for every teacher has a mic, digital whiteboard, a projector, and a document camera. So those are what I consider the basic tools that teachers needed in their class.
We don't need to watch all of Harry's presentation, by the way.
What about, have you ever had incidents in the classroom involving a student and the teacher wanted to use that as evidence to go show the principal? Has it ever been used like that?
No, that's never even come up before, quite honestly. So,
They actually act a little bit different.
They
Because they think that they're like, wait a minute, they'll know it's me.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I know, I've never had that process before. I think that was my last slide. Oh, if you were here, if you could do my Google feedback, I'd really appreciate it down here. It's bit.ly 2019 YT feedback. It's just a quick Google form for feedback on this. I forgot about that. I know the conference is doing feedback, but I want to use this feedback as my Google Trainer certification, so that would be very helpful if you would you have a second to do that feedback. You don't have to do it now, but it's 2019 YT for YouTube feedback, YT in the Africa. Anybody else have a question? I know it's lunchtime. I think it's lunchtime. So. Nope. Thank you guys.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.